and editor with One-to-One Media. Today we're speaking about integrating traditional CRM strategies with social CRM channels to gain a holistic view of the customer and to create more relevant conversations. Speaking on this topic are Augie Ray, Senior Analyst of Social Computing for Interactive Marketing and Forrester Research, and Michael DiLorenzo, Director of Social Media Marketing and Strategy for the National Hockey League. Gentlemen, thanks for speaking with me today about this topic. I know it's gaining a lot of attention in the marketplace. I thought we'd start off with maybe you defining what social CRM is. We're seeing a lot of companies and analysts define it in different ways. Can each of you describe how your firm or a company is describing this? Augie?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Sorry, Mila.
Sorry, Mike.
So we're using social networks to shorten the distance between fans and the league. We know that fans, for example, are spending, look at Facebook, about an hour a day on Facebook and on Twitter as well, and we know they're spending less time on NHL.com, and so we are using these social platforms as a device to expose our fans to various storylines as well as our direct-to-consumer product portfolio.
Great. Augie?
Well, it's interesting because I do think that SCRM can mean so many different things to different people, and honestly, I think one of the challenges is that when we try to define it too broadly, to include just about anything, it makes it very difficult for organizations to get their hands around it. So, I prefer to think about social CRM as the traditional CRM methodologies of understanding more about individuals, using that to do better marketing and do better customer service, and simply merging that with social channels. I think there are some very interesting things that you can do with social CRM when you define it that way.
I agree. Mike, it sounds like the NHL is doing a lot with social media, using social media to interact with fans. Can you maybe explain one or two initiatives more in detail that you've launched and the benefit to the fans as well as to the NHL?
Sure. Well, we've certainly tried a lot. We've succeeded at some. We've failed at others. For this year in particular, as it relates to social networks, this was a year for us about building a critical mass, an addressable audience on the major social networks, and then being able to campaign to them. And when I say campaign, again, I'm saying perhaps we're exposing storylines to them, or perhaps we're exposing them to a product or service offering, or a contest or a campaign. One interesting thing that we've done is Saturday nights in the National Hockey League. That's our most prolific game night on any given week. We usually have between 24 and 30 teams playing that night, and it's a night that that we want to own in the sporting landscape. Now, one of our business challenges is that hockey fans are tribal. All sports fans are tribal. In other words, they care about their favorite team. They don't necessarily care as much about the out-of-market teams. And so for us, we've created a lightweight game via Twitter called Saturday NHL Pics, where we let people come to NHL.com, sign in with their Twitter credentials, and pick the results for all games on any given Saturday night, and see who comes up with the most winning predictions. And we created a leaderboard, and we prized this. And so really what we've done is campaigned around a particular weekly event for us to try to heighten fan awareness and engagement for what goes on any given week in the National Hockey League.
Can you quantify the success you're having around that initiative?
Well, in any given week, we have several thousand entries. So in other words, several thousand people come to NHL.com, sign in with their Twitter credentials, and pick the winners for our Saturday night games. The beauty of its social networks is sort of the viral amplification. So when one person signs in and makes their picks, it automatically generates a tweet and tells all of that person's followers that he's just enrolled in Saturday NHL Pics, and creates a bit.ly link to let other fans come in and make their own picks.
Great. So while many companies are realizing the benefits of social media, like the NHL is, social CRM still has many challenges to overcome. Augie, what challenges are you seeing companies experience with integrating traditional CRM with social media to create that social CRM experience?
Sure. Well, I think the first thing is where we started the conversation, which is sometimes it's just a matter of defining it properly. I've been involved with clients who try to take on too much around social CRM, and I think that a smart approach, one that we talk about at Forrester a lot, is the POST approach, which is to start with people, then move to objectives, then move to strategies, and end with things like tactics, tools, and technology, which is too often where people begin. So I think it's very important to start by defining the audiences and what you hope to achieve with them, which is something I heard Mike talk about that they did quite successfully for NHL. So I think that's one place. Another place where I think there is some struggles is how to find relevant data, filter it, and get it into appropriate CRM systems. I'm certainly seeing organizations such as, say, Awareness and Lithium, who are doing some very interesting things around community, and then even outside of the owned communities into more of the earned communities and social media, where they're gathering information and turning that into usable data, so that when the phone rings for customer service purposes, your customer service representative can know that the individual they're talking to not only, let's say, was a recent purchaser or has purchased a lot, some of the traditional CRM sorts of information that the customer service uses, but also can know if this is somebody who has millions of followers and lots of influence, because that's the sort of thing that we're going to increasingly see used in customer service. The idea that we've always used sort of A, B, and C levels of service for different people based on their recency, frequency, and monetary value. And I think we're also going to start seeing social media added into that, so that we don't see the sorts of things that happened to Maytag last year, where they didn't really solve a blogger's problem, a mommy blogger's problem, and ended up seeing a social PR disaster form, because they just didn't know that the person on the other end of the line was somebody that really should have been treated maybe a little differently, and represented a little greater value to the organization. So anyways, that data, where it comes from, how do we filter it, is one of those challenges, and we're seeing the development of tools that can do that more effectively.
Great. Well, I think that's a great place to wrap up the conversation, and thanks to both of you for talking about social CRM.
Oh, my pleasure.
Very good.
To learn more about relationship strategy, visit www.one-to-onemedia.com.